Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I'm guessing that's what it is. I don't know anything about it.
Paperwork make any sense, guys? I turned on that and I just turned on the, so we're live. And I saw it on the screen, so I believe it's the whole. Yeah, it says it's working. I'd like to welcome everybody and call the Town of Alexandria Board meeting to order on March 15th, 2023. Could you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion to approve and pay the bills in the abstract.
I'll make a motion that we do that.
I got a,
Excluding the ones.
With the exception of a couple.
I've got, so we got a motion, a second by Gene, discussion. Castle cable bill, I'd like to hold that out. The general ledger number is wrong on the plow motor for Jay's truck. We need to change that. We have 3 bills that we'd like to have approved by the highway department. I don't see a signature on, right?
At least there's more.
We changed the Del Ramo bill, that's been changed, and waste management, our question is void or not. So the question will be that we can approve these bills pending these.
Pending all the ones that we have questions on, yeah, because I think there's more in there than just that.
Okay, so any more discussion on it?
Well, we have discussed in the past that we'd like all the department heads to look at the bills before they get to Nicole.
Yeah, so any bills
And
that come
before us.
Any bills that come directly here need to go to the department heads.
Our problem is that we've got bills that we've looked at and certain department heads
Have not even seen them.
well, put it this way, they're not signed on the bills, and that's what I usually like to have is, so they've seen it. So that's what we're trying to make sure that we do that properly.
Right.
So I'm holding those 5 out for that.
Yep, any invoices that come here need to go to whatever department head is applicable, so they can see them and sign off on them before they come to us.
Yep.
Well, just so they're not surprised as well. I mean,
Right.
did we actually do this?
Okay, any more discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Next item I have is the minutes. We have 2 months of minutes in front of us here. One is January 18th. We'll do that first. I've been through that. I wanted to make sure, did we change that? Donna's last name we did, right? That I had done wrong. That was the only thing I had on there, and that's changed. So, anybody else have anything else on these?
I just have some small stuff that I'll just give to Sandy.
Okay. And that's the next one, that's February 15th.
Okay.
Yep.
But that's your time, I'll.
So if we don't have any other questions on January 18th, I'll make a motion, we approve January 18th.
I'll second it.
Second by Gene, any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, none. Next one is the February 15th, minutes. I need a motion for that,
I'll make the motion.
and
I'll second that.
you'll second it, and you have some changes?
Yeah, just the small ones, I'll just forward them
Okay,
to Sandy, that's all.
okay. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. That's those two. Now we have a public hearing for public comments on the formation of the Route 12 Sewer District Number 2. Rob?
Sure. I'm gonna stand up so people can hear me. So, just a little background. The sewer district along Route 12 that we're talking about basically extends from where the existing sewer district stops around Finn's, the old Finn's restaurant, or the old, I'll call it Don Cole's Putt Putt, because everybody knows where that is. So there's sewer service to that point, from the bridge to that point. But this sewer district includes, from that point all the way to Otter Street, the intersection of Otter Street, Route 12, and the last customers would be the Rock Ledge Motel, and it would also be the Park Police Barracks on Otter Street would be included as well. So the town's been planning this district for many years. I think it started in 2013, maybe, or 2014. And it's taken quite a few trials and tribulations. But the town did finally get approved design, and we went to bid a few months ago. And as expected, the bids came in higher than than originally was budgeted. And so the process is to go to the funding agencies to get additional grant funds. We need to reform the district, and also we're picking up a couple additional properties to be included in the district. But as part of the application process to get additional grant funding, we need to formalize the district boundaries. So that's why we're here tonight. The estimated user cost is what's on everybody's mind, of course. The estimated user cost is $694 per year per unit. So a typical single-family home would pay $694 per year. Businesses would be assessed differently depending on what their type of business was and what their anticipated flows would be based on water use records where we have those. So there's a variety of EDU assignments for the businesses. The total project cost with the bids we have is about a little under $12.5 million. Okay, that includes construction, it includes all the other costs, environmental permitting and those sorts of things. So what we're here tonight to do is to solicit public comment on the district. If anybody has any questions, answer those. There's also been some interest lately. There's always been interest, but the Otter Street area, which would include basically from the intersection of Otter Street, Route 12 to Otter Creek, so like the T.I. Sun building and the Valero gas station on Route 12 all the way to the creek, but also Otter Street itself, the homes, single-family homes on Otter Street. There has been interest voiced just recently from the business owners and property owners there to include that in this district. That would increase the total capital cost by about $3.4 million, all right, to include all the Otter Street area that's currently served by water. The estimated user cost would be the same, but we'd have to come up with another $3 million in grant money to try to include that in this project. So that's something that I think we could talk about after the public hearing, and we can decide on the boundaries and how you want to move forward. So with that,
The only thing I have to add is, in the last week or two, we've been getting paperwork together for this project, and we did a submittal to the Congresswoman's, to Elise Stefan.
yeah.
And so we've been talking about this a lot, and I got letters from 7 property owners along Route 12 that have businesses and one with a house that all wrote very strong letters about needing sewer. I know 2 or 3 of these situations, like Craig Snow at the Sun and the Valero station, that have both dug up their systems a couple times in the last year or 2 because they've had issues. So there's a very strong need there. And if we're able to add this into the district, that means we will have municipal water from Alexandria Bay or from Otter Creek, municipal water and sewer to the Thousand Isles Bridge, or to where you said in front of Putt Putt. Which I think is a big thing. You know, we have municipal water now, and then to add municipal sewer just opens the doorway for, there's a lot of property up there for sale, and there's some being bought, so that's really all I have as far as extending the district or including those other people. Anybody else have any comments? So, we'll open up the public hearing. Rob?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to open up the public hearing. A second by Gene. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all those in favor, aye. Public have anything to say about this district or the expansion or anything? I think most of you are here for another reason, so, but we'd love to hear from you.
My feeling river.
You know, one of the things when we started working on zoning and everything, that's our main commercial corridor. And that's everything that we've ever applied for and said that we wanted to do. We've always emphasized that commercial corridor. And I believe it was even zoned commercial for X amount of feet from the road on both sides all the way.
What this also does, it opens up, you know, for future connections, Point Vivian, St. Lawrence Park, and all those residential areas on the river. It obviously opens that up for connection in the future should it be needed.
Our intention is to hook into the sewer plant that's behind Price Chopper, which is a modular sewer plant that allows us to expand multiple times according to our volume, right?
Right. Yeah, no expansion is required with this extension of service. There's excess capacity there now that can handle this, so.
Clayton just paid for an expansion module, right?
Yeah,
and there's room in that for us.
Exactly. Yeah, so when Clayton put their sewers in, basically from Fisher's Landing to the Village of Clayton line, they upgraded that plant, not only to take care of their added volume, but to give us some more excess capacity. So. All right. So I'll leave these maps here if anybody wants to look at them afterwards. Okay. All right. So don't forget to close the public hearing.
Yep.
Any other comments from the public? If not, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a
Motion by Gene,
I'll second
second
that.
by Mike. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no.
So Brent, you probably want to have, you've got a couple of absent board members, you probably ought to review this with them. And if you do want to include the Otter Street section, board members, we'll probably have to bring it back for another public hearing, modified public hearing, and we'll have to undertake seeker as well for the modified district boundaries. The completion of seeker will be required prior to you modifying the bond resolution. So after you decide on the district boundaries, then you'll have to modify your bond resolution for the appropriate amount. Okay, and seeker will need to be completed prior to you finalizing your bond resolution.
Okay.
So
we'll hold off now as far as doing anything and wait to get the other board members in the loop.
that's probably makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
And if we do that, if there's a need for a special meeting, or it would speed this process up?
Yeah, I mean, we can't make our funding requests until the district formation is complete,
Okay.
and the bond resolution is complete, so every time we can accelerate.
Would adding Otter Street help?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't help, because Otter Street, the EDUs aren't condensed at all.
Okay, I was just
And so it's gonna increase your requirement to get grant by about $3 million. So you're gonna have to get it, instead of trying to get the $7.5 million for the Route 12, you're gonna have to get 10.5 if you include Otter Street at this time. So it could, if the grant money's there, it's fine, but if it's not,
Well, no, I'm just asking, I realize it's a heck of a lot more money, but would the lending people look more favorably?
I can't answer that. I can't speak for that. What you could do is include all the areas in the district. And you could consider, the existing bid that we have as phase one, to be able to move along with phase one, and then Otter Street, as you secured funding for the Otter Street piece, do that as a phase two. The district formation portion would be complete, and the bond resolution would be complete, but you would segment the project into 2 phases based on the ability to, of the town in getting the funding. So I can't speak for the funding agencies.
Okay.
Until we apply, we don't know.
Okay. Good.
Yep, that's everything I had.
Okay, we'll move on to the next public hearing. The public comments on the formation of a combined water ordinance for all 5 water districts in the town of Alexandria. Mike, you most familiar with this, you wanna explain a little bit?
At the last meeting, I introduced, a new combined, water ordinance. Right now, we have 5 water districts, and we have 5 different ordinances. And, there are some similarities one to the other, but they all have their own little thing. So we looked at it, our little committee has looked at it over the last couple of years and put together a single document with a series of appendixes that break out each one of the districts that have, something that's specific to them. Last meeting, we all had an opportunity to look at it, and I have a public hearing today for that.
Okay. I'll take a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Gene, second by Mike.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing's open. Anybody have any comments on these ordinances, these 5, it's all the same ordinance for 5 districts?
Right.
No comments from the public. I'll take a motion to close.
Somebody else's turn. Somebody else's turn.
Oh, I'll make
Motion by Mike, I'll second it.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passed. That takes care of the 2 public hearings. I have a couple of items before we do privilege of the floor. We have a couple of items I'd like to do first. And one is Mr. Fricola, who's here, who's presented us with a project folder on his ideas at Body Castle Stables. We just got this. We haven't had a chance to read it. Alan, if you'd like to get up for a second and just tell the public what you're talking about doing, and
Talking about,
if you don't mind.
we're proposal in 3 different phases. Phase 1 will have an amphitheater. Phase 2, water park, and then phase 3.
I can't hear what you're saying.
We're thinking about,
Can you speak up?
Yeah.
but taking the, where the hockey is, and make it a, like, indoor roller skating, in probably laser tag, and then also, have like a scare park for Halloween. Right now, I've been working with someone. They own a water park and they build water parks. So they've been in the business for like 40 years. We've already talked to. I have a meeting with the senator. I forgot his name. This month, and then Elaine Stefanik, we already spoke to her. I'm working with a grant writer. He just put this together. He's on vacation right now. Otherwise, he would have been here. I'm sure the board's going to have some questions for him, and some things have to be answered because we have some deadlines that we have to meet, and some paperwork that needs to be filled out. I'm just wondering, because we'd like to meet before the next meeting. so we can get our work done.
In April, our next meeting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Before that.
Before that.
Oh, before that?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and what I'll do is, when Jerry gets back, I'll,
Did you submit something to the Police Stefanik's office
yes.
in relation to this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I'll just go through and read the 3 or 4 different items you have in here
Okay.
with some estimated dollar amounts, is that okay?
Right, yep.
Yeah, he's got an amphitheater, we've been up there many a time and looked, and there's a beautiful area up there for an amphitheater, that will be totally visible, from Route 12 or from the Cloverleaf. The estimated cost for the amphitheater is $352,600. Next item is a water park. Direct revenue spread for 15-acre water park that has, I believe it was 6 different, rides or?
Right, yeah, there's gonna be like a spray area for kids, a multi-level play structure, some speed slides, and a lazy river.
Yep, and the price on that is $535,248.
That's the benefit to the county and town, because we have
That's right.
surcharges and sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be the benefit. The 300,000, that's, the surcharge and taxes,
Yeah, okay,
That's direct revenue,
Those
that's what costs.
are not the cost.
right, okay, I see that. So that just gives you an idea of what he's trying to do. He's got a large section in here on nature trails. There's a lot of land up there that we're looking at, and we've kind of changed the dimensions of this a couple times as
Right.
as he's added things that had other ideas, so, nature trails would be nice. One thing that the town's trying to do with this is the town is trying to preserve the area of the racetrack and the area in there so that we can put ball fields. There's been talk about ball fields. That's not a definite, decision for the town yet, but that's just something that we want to leave that option open.
If you look at the back page, the very last back page,
Yep, sports fields.
see, that's why we really need to find out, like, how much land you're gonna need. Like, right here, like, here's a road,
Yep.
there's parking, ball fields,
Yeah,
the water park, amphitheater, and then, the nature trail.
okay, yep,
Now, those dimensions can change, because I'm not sure how much land
yep,
that you're gonna need. And then, this particular parking here, we're gonna use for the amphitheater, and then you can use it for the ballpark.
So we've got these, and we'll pass these on to our couple other board members, and you need to hear from us, you said, by,
What I'll do is I'll get a hold of Jerry, and I'll see what days he's available,
okay,
and whatever is convenient. And
okay,
then if we could, like I said, we have to put some paperwork in.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Okay, the next item is, Andrew Garlock has been doing some work for us on our existing Bolton Avenue arena. I had a bunch of plans over there on that table for the public, just showing his initial sketch and his initial thoughts. I'll let Andrew explain.
Yeah, do you guys have the printouts? I don't need to pass these.
We got them with these two.
Okay. Yeah, that's all there was, the
Yep.
2 sheets.
Yep,
So, thank you, thanks to the board for the opportunity to, work with you on the, arena project on Bolton Ave. As an architect and a community member, you know, that building means a lot to me. I spent a lot of time in there as a kid and still today, and, I'm just excited to be, talking about the project with you, so, thank you for that. Been working with the town. The project is still very much in its infancy. We're really just scoping a project now, for the rec center there on Bolton Ave. A lot had been kind of concepted in the past for that building. I think there were multiple designs over the years, over the past few decades on what to do with that building. A lot of that, you know, in recent times got put, I think, on the back burner, until more recently, and there's been more talk about, you know, upgrading that arena and really, providing a facelift to it. So right now, the basic scope of the project, there's multiple scopes, but I'll just kind of run through what we've discussed. On the exterior, for one, the building needs a facelift. Many of the existing exterior finishes, the siding and the roofing need to be upgraded or repaired. You know, and we wanna make that building look nice. We want it to be an attractive, building for the community. We're looking at an addition to the building on the backside, towards the village, away from the school, for locker rooms, new entrance, concessions, you know, essentially a lobby where you walk in to the arena into a warm space. So that would be all part of the addition, as well as a warming area adjacent to the lobby so that spectators can, you know, watch events in the arena from a conditioned space and so forth. There'll also be bathrooms as part of that addition off the warming room. The arena, inside the existing arena itself, the ice surface had been replaced about 15 years ago. So all the equipment and the floor and the boards are actually in great shape. It's some of the best ice in the North Country if you've ever skated on it. So there really isn't any work to the ice surface itself, and as you guys know, many of you know, the town recently put the turf in there in the off-season, so it's both an ice arena and a turf field during the off-season. The existing spaces surrounding the rec surface, the plan and scope would be to reconstruct all the bleachers. Currently the bleachers are a wood-framed, you know, hodgepodge of materials that make up the bleachers with the locker rooms beneath them. That would all go away, and we'd have new telescopic bleachers along the same wall that would increase the seating capacity probably by about double in the arena, but also have the ability to push them away and to create some open floor space in front of them for, you know, different smaller events and things inside the arena. The existing concessions and bathrooms, that would also be demolished and reconstructed. We'd look to probably reconstruct some bathrooms in that location, in that existing location that are directly adjacent to the bleachers. That's really, you know, a majority of the scope. We will be making repairs and replacements of finishes throughout the rest of the building as it makes sense, you know, as it's really required for the project. But it is important not to do too big of a project to the existing arena. You know, we really, in terms of building code, we're level 1 and level 2 alterations. As soon as you touch more than 50% of the existing building, you become a level 3 alteration. With a level 3 alteration, you've got to bring the entire building up to code. So it's more or less being, you know, smart about what you renovate, how you reconstruct. But with the project, the building should become much more functional. There'll be quite a bit more space by putting the locker rooms in their own space behind the benches, and it should be a great facility. You know, once we've designed all that program and the renovation.
Great.
So.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you for getting this done so fast, Andrew.
Just wondering if any of the people from the public would like to comment or talk about what we're talking about doing. We usually ask the public what their thoughts are on this, so it gives us some direction to go. I know it was a few years ago on here, and we were talking about going as the big direction with Bonnie Castle, and with the COVID and the change of prices, we've got real scared, is the word I'm going to use. So does anybody have any comments on what we're talking about doing?
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. What are you looking to spend? What are you looking to spend?
I'm sorry,
How much?
What's he looking
How much
to
are you
spend?
trying to spend to renovate?
I don't think, do we have any dollar figures yet, Andrew?
No, we're
We
just
talked real rough, and we want to be careful about saying numbers, but.
Yeah, we're just scoping right now. I think the key through the scoping process, and we'll discuss this during future meetings, is, you know, we'd like to put together almost like an a la carte laundry list menu of scope of works with budgets, estimated budgets to discuss together.
Yeah.
It could be a really small project or a very large project. There's a lot of flexibility in the design scope. So that's just something I think we'll have to work through.
I mean, we really have been brainstorming. Matt's been involved with us quite a bit, and some other people that use the facility a lot and know it about what we need to do, what needs to be done there, what's the priority list. So that's kind of what we're at, and we're still working on that. Any other questions?
You can't go up with that building at all. I think that was.
Andrew answered that question earlier today, Andrew.
Raise the ceilings or go to the second floor?
Well, I think if you're gonna do that, you gotta go to second floor, wouldn't you?
Well, second floor, going through the building code, review of the existing structure, going with a second floor addition to any part of the building requires that the entire building becomes sprinklered. So it technically can be done, but it triggers an event in the building code, it triggers something in the building code that would require us to provide a full, sprinkler system throughout the building.
Shouldn't that be something you need, though? Shouldn't that be something that should be there?
Well, there are code requirements based on the existing building. The existing building is legally conforming as it is. What would trigger an existing building to need a system are a series, and I've actually included some language about this in the lower left-hand corner of the printout. When you modify so much of an existing building, it then triggers a sprinkler system. If you were to build an arena like that new today of the exact same size that it is, you would need a sprinkler system. Existing buildings are given leniency, and they don't want to put you into a position where you can't renovate, because it's not financially feasible to, put a system in. The cost, I mean, it's a 24,000 square foot building. The cost to sprinkle that building, would be a large line item. And it's also, with it being a cold space in the winter, would have to be a specialized system in order to provide that protection.
Looking more towards the summer, for, when they have the turf and stuff in there was, So, I guess what I'm asking is, what are you gonna do? Bonnie Castle is definitely.
No, but you see, we got a gentleman here
I see.
that's
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at doing something, and we have another gentleman that's looking at another piece of property up there,
So you're
so.
gonna get rid of the whole place, is that the plan?
I don't think we're sure what we're gonna do.
Well, there's turf down there right now.
Mhm.
Well, what we're proposing here is something that we could just make it exclusively a turf facility in the future.
You mean down here?
I'm just saying that it gives us that flexibility to do something like that and still pursue the rec center.
Mhm.
That's why we're scoped it down to something pretty modest.
I mean,
I'm just looking expense-wise, you got two places, you're gonna.
Well, there'll only be one rink.
One thing we feel pretty strong about, or I guess I better speak for myself, is that the ice rental business and having the ice in the community of Alexandria Bay has been a really big item here for a long, long time. And I think there's a lot of people in the community that would like to see that stay.
Oh,
We also have looked at building a whole nother new building, possibly on the back 9 over here. There's been a couple locations. There's the property across the street was talked about, building a whole nother building that could be year-round turf. That, as was said earlier by Andrew and a lot of people here, that's been declared the best ice in the North Country for a long time.
It is. And our ice rink doesn't make money anyways.
No.
You know that. I don't care, there's no rinks in it, you know what I mean? They're always in the red.
Yeah.
So, I just, why get rid, I'm all about, I think you should keep it too, absolutely,
Any other comments from the public? That's,
And then I will. A lot of pressure.
Well, I think, the ice that's there is great, and it's used by lots of people in the community. The bathrooms are outdated, and they don't work. The concession stand is at the point where we can't use it for events. So if someone drives hours away for a hockey tournament, or we have a show for figure skating, that's not available. The locker room, or the costume rooms and the storage rooms we have there aren't sufficient for what we're trying to do. We had to get a Chemex box for the turf, and that's kind of an eyesore on the outside of the building. This would provide storage to be able to get rid of that. So I think we're at the point where, the ice and the turf is great for the community, and, there's lots of benefits to it, but the building's kind of falling into disrepair around that. So we have the opportunity to improve it, while the rest of it is still in really good shape and being used.
yeah. Yeah, what was I gonna say, like you said, we've had a couple projects that have been in front of us, or actually the previous boards for quite a while, so this has been looked at. we've been down there 2 or 3 times in the last couple of weeks looking at this stuff, and I think, didn't we decide that those locker rooms and everything that's built in that building are all original? They're absolutely original, so they are, you know, they're old, they need to be replaced.
Does the turf in the summer provide an opportunity for the ice arena to go into the green or into the black instead of into the red all year? I mean, does that turf give us that option to start making money on this thing, or is it always gonna be in the red?
We're hoping that the turf will give us that opportunity.
Right, so.
We saw a little bit of a sample of it last year. The school's been using it a lot, and so have a lot of the groups.
So it gives the town an option to now
Yeah.
start making money on this instead of, you know.
Yep. Anybody?
Just looking over this quickly, like, I know, spent a lot of time in the locker room. Like, are there gonna be amenities in the locker rooms, you know, bathrooms, water, stuff like that, or is it just gonna be a seating area?
It hasn't really been discussed or determined yet. It certainly could be. We could have those amenities in the locker rooms.
Just thinking on a bigger scale, right? I mean, it's easier for the kids, number one, to stay in an area, right, instead of having to travel all the way across the rink into a shared common area. But then, you know, thinking larger, if, you know, this lacrosse league takes off really well, those players, maybe another hockey team shows up that wants to use the rink, they're gonna look for those amenities as well. Instead of limiting us to a small village size kind of deal, if we're gonna do the project, I think we should kind of go all in and don't leave it exclusive for you. Try to, you know, bring other people in with it, is my opinion. And if we don't include those kind of amenities, you're stuck where you are.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of agree with Dean here. Like, if you're gonna do it, you got, just bite the bullet, go all in on this. So, I mean, that's gonna be, you're talking at least 4 locker rooms. I mean, if you're talking hosting a tournament, you know, you can't sit in each other's laps, basically, so, you know, bathrooms, I don't know what that costs or anything like that, or how that's gotta go, but, I mean, you got concession over there, that's gonna need water as well, so I would assume it'd be easy to do.
It's a
You
lot
can
easier
see,
in addition than it is to reconstruct a space
Right.
that doesn't have water.
Right, I didn't see it, I see it says locker rooms, I just didn't know what it entailed as far as, you know, what would be in there, included in that.
you can see that our plans are pretty preliminary, and we've just started discussing this, so we've.
Actually, block diagrams right now.
Right.
There would be, to some level, bathrooms in the locker room block, whether they're included in the locker rooms themselves or if they're just directly adjacent. There certainly would need to be, you know, just to be functional bathrooms, right adjacent to the locker room.
Shower facilities, stuff like that, you know, those are kind of the big things. If you're gonna wanna try to bring a semi-pro league in for, you know, either summer or winter, at any point in time, you're gonna need that kind of amenity as well, so just something to think about, I guess.
I couldn't agree more as the owner of that semi-pro lacrosse team. If we're gonna do locker rooms, we definitely want showers. Sure. Cause like currently, what I'm gonna have to do this summer is, I'm gonna use this locker room in the back corner, right, the little square, then my guy's gotta walk through out into an area to shower, and then there's only 2 showers. It'll be fun, but I have grown men that are gonna have to walk through a building.
Right.
You know, I'm meant to kick people out, hey guys, you're gonna have to go. I got guys in towels and walking around, you don't want your kids to see that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, having showers and stuff is definitely important if you guys are gonna do it. You definitely wanna go all in on that.
Any more questions from the public?
I had a question.
There's somebody right here. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, as a community member, I'm Lily Chnett. I serve as president of the Alexandria Bay Figure Skating Club. I'm a teacher at school. I've chaperoned for many events, so I've had experience in that capacity. And I also have a child that plays hockey, and my children are also taking advantage of the turf as soccer players. So I'm using it in all seasons, and my children are using it in all seasons. And one of the things that happened to me, I was chaperoning an event, and another team came in to play our boys team, and they did not have enough negative comments about where they were playing hockey. And so we have, you know, teams and our own teams not wanting to play in our facility because of what it's like. So we have students at our school that don't want to play at our arena and they'd rather play in Clayton because they don't want to come here. And that's sad to me. As the president of the Figure Skating Club, I have several board members. We have worked so hard to, when my daughter started, there was about 20 members. We currently have 58 members registered. Now, these are not the numbers that we saw in the 90s, and we'll probably never see those numbers again, but our numbers have grown exponentially. Our board is working so hard, and we could do so much more if the facility was improved. We could offer the ability to have a competition. At this point in time, we could never have a competition in that facility because we can't invite people there. It's like your, you know, great aunt's house that no one could go to for Easter. And we can't store materials there because they're getting eaten by mice.
Destroyed.
Mice go everywhere.
You know, so we don't have the opportunity to store skating dresses and other materials. So I'm storing materials in my basement and other places in my home because I can't bring them to the rink, even though that sort of, we do have some club space there. Our girls love the ice, and we understand that an improvement would, you know, mean a shortened season, but we can't support it enough for the continuation of the growth of this club, not for my own children, but for the children that are going to come after them and the children that are going to come after them. And it allows the school additional opportunities, or minor hockey, which is predominantly happening in Clayton right now, the opportunity to want to come back. I think right now you have people who don't want to be there. And let's make a space where people want to come and want to say, hey, let's not go to Clayton, let's do this in the Bay. Or, hey, the Alexandria Bay Figure Skating Club, we can have a competition here and bring people to our rink and arena, and that's a moneymaker for us, so we can continue to offer first year free for all new skaters. And we have the best prices in the North Country, and any time that we can fundraise, that's what it's going for. It's getting people skating for free. We're a community organization, and we just want the opportunity to continue to expand. And when we expand, we pay you more money, right?
Yeah.
So we expanded, you know, we've doubled our numbers over the past couple of years, so we're taking more ice. Sorry. You know, but we can continue to try to expand and work together as different organizations in a better facility, you know, so we can fight once a year about ice time.
I think when we also look at the location of the rink, it's directly across the street from the school. So the school has access to it for special events. They always skate right before winter break, around Christmas time. They take advantage of the turf. And then at the end of the day, when school's done, the kids only have to walk across the street to go to skating, to go use the turf, to take advantage of all the things over there.
Yeah.
So, you know, and also the access to downtown. You know, if we're talking about drawing people here to use that facility, downtown and the restaurants and little store and everything else, just right down there.
Yep.
I can echo everything that was just said. Robert found I can speak, I guess, on behalf of the Thousand Islands Youth Hockey. I have a son that plays in there and I intend to be there for a long time, principal here at the high school. And I think we're just getting started. I've seen the turf come in. I'm constantly having conversations with people that are hockey diehards. They're, well, I got that turf in there, and we lost our ice a week early, and it's like, close your gap. The turf is in there. We have kids in there playing soccer right now. We're gonna have kids playing lacrosse. You know, you look at a new entrance and people wanting to be there, and just like Lily said, people actually wanting to come here. I hate to do it, but I will because I've been playing in Clayton all winter, and the positive feedback that we got from teams from all over the place that came to our tournament, including like, this is the best facility we've played in the whole North Country. You know, and we just, as Andrew said, you have, and anyone in the hockey community will tell you, the ice there is the best and has been the best for as long as I've ever known. You have the best ice, and then the facility,
it's nostalgic to a lot of us that are sitting here. It's the Tin Palace. It is, you know, it is what it is. It was 10 degrees in there. That didn't bother us, but you're getting to a point where people are gonna go where things are. Where's the best? Where can I go? Where's the best? And Layton Rink's nicer. I wanna be there. You know what? Watertown just has this brand new facility. I'm gonna take my kid out there. And you lose people. We kinda have to try to find ways to stay up with what other people are doing. And if we're looking at bleachers that are original, you know, you're looking at toilets that haven't changed since, you know, I mean, everything is certainly dated. You know, I was just talking recently, I remember as a kid, the arena was always open for kids to skateboard in. And we had 60, 70 kids in there all summer, all the time, skateboarding, and I kept them off our streets. And as a principal over here, I say, whoa, what can our kids do all summer long that keeps them off the streets? And prior to right now, that arena sat there, wasn't being used. Now that you have turf in there, we have people that are motivated and driven to start doing some work to get the kids in there playing lacrosse, playing soccer, playing basketball, whatever we're gonna do, it's just getting started. And a plan like this only accelerates it. You got a brand new facility going in across the road at school. I mean, we've talked about the energy that that's gonna bring to the kids, the community. I love to focus only on academics all the time, but let's be honest, the community comes out when you start talking about sports. And if you can do something like this at the arena, it's just gonna be positive for everyone in the community. They're gonna appreciate that. You talked about commerce. I mean, the amount of people that you can bring in, if you do it right, I don't think you wanna shortchange yourself here. You do it right and you do everything you need to do, you're gonna fill that place in the winter. They're gonna be in our businesses, they're gonna be spending money, they're gonna be in our hotels. It's a great place, and it's sad to leave the arena on Sunday morning and know that there's nothing going on there, and didn't always used to be that way.
Yeah.
And when you kind of bring it up to speed here, there's no reason, and not even to make money. I hope as a municipal arena, we're not necessarily trying to make money, but make enough money that we can sustain it, and it's something that our kids can use and you know, be a part of.
Yep. Anybody else have anything? Okay, well, I just wanted to, Andrew, thank you for going through that and bringing us the paperwork, and we'll have a meeting with you, I'm sure, in the next week to get a hold of you and start, continue to work on this. Okay?
Thank you.
Next time we talk about the rink, I'd like to see all the community here to give us more feedback and help us, because we can't do it without all of you guys here. Thank you for coming.
I'll go to my next question. Like, is there gonna be like a preliminary kind of deal where we can kind of put our 2 cents into what we'd maybe like to see, or, something like that? I mean, other than just throwing a design at us and saying yes or no, can we get involved somehow with that, or?
If we could do design workshops.
I was gonna say, work it into Andrew's schedule, and we can have a workshop or do a session like we're doing here before a meeting or whatever we decide's best. And I strongly agree with Gene that we need the public's input about this. I mean, I've been to that arena as a spectator, but never as an athlete or a hockey player or anything else. There's a lot of people here that know that arena inside out, that have been there for a long time. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on. My privilege of the floor, I skipped it. Anybody else have anything they want to say about anything else? Okay, we'll move on.
You got Cassie's email, right?
What's that?
You got Cassie's email for the,
Cassie's report?
Yeah. I emailed it to you through
Does anybody have one that's got the?
I thought I saw it, but if not, I've got it on my phone right here.
Anything up front there? I'm
pretty sure we have one.
Want to do that now? Are you gonna read it?
No, I thought you go first.
Okay,
I thought
you need to go somewhere?
we got the kids home.
Okay, so
We left them.
I'm just gonna start here with the youth report, the update on the youth sports program. Basketball is just wrapping up. Next week will be the last practice for at least 3 of our teams. The 5th and 6th grade boys team played in a number of games, as well as our 3rd and 4th grade team. The turf is down in the ice arena. We're having 2 teams in there for the first time this season on Saturday. Attended a very long meeting last night in Dexter for the Thousand Islands Baseball Committee and was voted to take control of all 22 teams for scheduling rosters, posting scores on the website. I opened up the softball and baseball registration, which will come due April 1st because we need a final count for the older teams as a league rule. The team we have now for the springs include T-ball, 4 to 6, Coach Cassidy Daly. Grasshopper, baseball, ages 7 to 9, coach needed. 8U softball, ages 8 and under, coach needed. Pee-wee basketball, or baseball, I'm sorry, ages 10 to 12, coach Ed Klepak. 12U softball, coach Liz Sawyer and Maria Valdea.
You skipped 10U.
I said what?
You skipped 10U.
Okay, and the 10U softball, ages 10 and under, coach needed. The numbers for our teams look like as of right now: T-ball 3 players, Grasshopper 3 players, 8U softball 1 player, 10U softball 1 player, Pee-wee baseball 1 player, 12U softball 20 players. This is all the info I can think of, and we'll inform you of anything that's updated. That's our youth report.
Where are the kids?
Yeah, it's early. You can sign up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Rob, we've got you on for a couple different things.
Sure. So, gave you a little sketch of the parking lot area, both here and at the arena. It's, yeah, there you go. And Brent and I looked at the parking lots for some repairs, and certainly, we'll talk about the arena. There needs to be some drainage work on the church end. You know, the water kind of all runs back towards where the Zamboni enters and exits. So there's really no option there but reconstructing that end and putting some new drainage in at that end. The large parking lot on the opposite end of the building, you know, the center of the parking lot is in pretty tough shape. Catch basin there that's deteriorated, the top of it is. There's another catch basin on the back entrance I don't think it can see any water, it's too high. So I think you can do a couple things. You could patch those areas. Probably you don't want to do anything until your plans for the arena are kind of solidified. Probably don't want to do anything there until you know where the additions might go. The church end, probably not going to have an addition there unless you purchase that property. I don't know. That's one area that you might want to go ahead and fix that. But I guess it needs some feedback. We can go and get prices now if you'd like on that, on at least the patch and repair work.
I think we ought to be looking at getting prices, because when we entered into this discussion a year ago, the finding people to do the work the people were just booked up for the whole summer. And that parking lot is in bad shape.
And then here, you've got a few areas that are deteriorated around the lower driveway and out back, and we kind of highlighted those. The rest of the pavement's in pretty good shape here. There's not a lot of, you know, map cracking or alligatoring, you know, it's not bad except in those areas. So I want to dig those out, fix them, get some binder and top in there, and then if you wanted to put a coat of paint on it and stripe it, you could do that if you wanted to seal it and stripe it. At least stripe it. It needs to be striped. So we can go ahead and get prices on the repairs. We can delineate those areas and get some quotes on it. That's what your thoughts.
But you do, I was just looking at the rink one, you know, I agree, the church side needs to be reshaped.
I don't think you have an option there.
No, there's no issue there. But the rest of the parking lot, we would resurface the whole thing.
I think you should. I don't know what there is for sub-base under the big parking lot.
I mean, obviously, like you say, that there's places that need a little bit of TLC before you paint it black. But striping it, that's a definitely.
Brent, couldn't
Dean, were you involved in this, surfacing or paint?
I was at the church end, but you don't have much room there.
No, we have
The
no.
church owns about 5 feet from the arena, I think.
We own 8 feet, but we've
8 feet,
got an agreement with the church to take care of their parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is,
I'm sure they would be happy to have
Trying to make work
it.
on, but why can't some of that, the town guys help out on some of that kind of work, you know what I'm saying, in between what's, you know what I'm saying, to offset the cost, could that, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, they could rip out and do all that kind of stuff, you know, right? I mean, why not?
Oh, yeah,
You know, I mean,
Yeah, they can box it out and put the
sure,
sub base down.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, in between, you know, I don't know what kind of work they got going on, but, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was involved, we did do some work up there, he's right, that's, the drainage is terrible.
Yeah.
The drainage is terrible, because we did put a catch basin next to the arena there at one time, and, yeah, it's kind of a hodgepodge
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, when Rob and I asked Rob to look at it a couple of weeks ago, and we walked through it, and it's in bad shape. And you know, Dean, you lose that to a certain degree, and you gotta build a whole new parking lot from the bottom up. And we're, like Rob's saying, we're not sure what the bottom is.
probably gonna have
Probably
to now.
looking at that, I'm with Rob, I think that's what you're looking at.
That parking lot's been bad since I played hockey.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's like 2 years ago.
It is. Yeah,
Thanks, Rob.
you're right, it is, it's bad, yeah.
So, I could go ahead and put a scope of work together and we get some prices and,
You guys okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
and then we'll go from
Okay.
there.
Any progress on the salt barn?
Spoke to Kyle today, he's gonna be there next week. We're supposed to have good weather, he said, so unless something happens, he can have guys over there next week to start working on it.
Super.
And how about, do we have any pricing or estimates on the water tower?
No, not yet, I haven't started on that yet. I've got to put a package together.
The board was hoping, and the board was thinking,
Well,
that,
Becca, what exactly are we talking about doing to the water tower?
Well, so you had an inspection report, I don't know if you looked at that, but, there's some corrosion on the exterior. The interior is pretty good. There's some touch up on the welds and things on the interior that need to be done, if I recall correctly. So, what we would do is have them prepare and reprime all the corroded areas so it doesn't.
Inside and out?
Inside and out, and then recoat everything.
Okay.
did we get a price on that?
No.
We didn't?
No.
Okay.
A long time ago, I
Was
thought
there-
we did
There might have been an
do
estimate.
something like that, then it was like 80,000, that seemed to stick
I
in
mean,
my
in
head.
my experience, you know, recoating tanks, and I haven't done one since COVID, so
Well, this is definitely before.
but, I mean, the good thing about that, there's no lead paint on that, right? So lead paint abatement is expensive. But you're probably looking in that $100,000 to $200,000 range to give it a overcoat, you know, spot repairs, prime, and then overcoat. What we have to do is we have to do some adhesion testing. So we typically get like Tnemic or Sherwin-Williams, they'll send a rep out. And before we can recommend an overcoat, you have to determine that the existing paint has sufficient adhesion, so it's not gonna come off. So as the weather gets a little warmer, we'll go out and we'll do some adhesion tests with the paint suppliers, and then they'll give us an idea what product to use and specify, and then of course you go to bid for the application.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a process. You can't just
Yeah.
say paint my tank. You gotta make sure that undercoat is still adhered sufficiently.
Well, we've kicked this can down the road for about 3 or 4 years. We have some money in our reserve fund, and we're thinking that we need to do it.
Yeah, okay. We'll have looked at pricing now.
That water district's been in the black.
Yep.
Yeah.
But regardless, we can't risk losing that
No, you gotta keep
tower
up with
at
it.
all, that would be.
You don't wanna get behind on that.
Okay.
I agree. The other item, the Goose Bay boat launch, that work has started, all right? They're down there, they've dug out in front of the bulkhead and poured the footings. There's 2 little wing walls that come out away, and actually, I brought a photograph that we took today. And they're going to be, pouring the wall probably next week, and getting ready to top the bulkhead. We're raising that 10 inches, you know, for high water events. So, so in any event, there's gonna be activity there right next to the ramp. I think you know, right now the ice fishermen are using that like crazy, and,
I guess they were down there the other day in our parking lot, our big parking lot was filled to the brim.
yeah.
Which is good.
So the contractor, DC Builders, in their scope of work, we're expanding that parking lot, we're cutting some trees to make it deeper, and we're gonna put some fill in there and then regrade the whole parking lot for a little better drainage, as well as put a walking path down to the, you know, beside the road. But we're gonna have to cut those trees soon, and the contractor, of course, doesn't want any cars in that parking lot, so he's agreed to kind of wait until the ice gets punky and we can close that parking lot off, I'm guessing in about 2 weeks, right? I don't know how much longer the ice will last. And then, so in that period, but you know, as soon as the ice goes out, people are gonna be putting boats in. And we don't want boat trailers littered in there, so we're probably gonna have to close that for a few days while they take the trees out of there and bring material in. So there's gonna be a little disruption there, so
Yep.
I don't know if you wanna put an ad in the Sun, that there's gonna be, you know,
Okay.
work at that parking area and also the ramp, okay, so they're gonna pour the walls and top the bulkhead, and then we're adding and dredging out in front of the ramp, so of course when we do that work, the ramp's gonna be closed for that. It probably is about a week's worth of work to dredge that out and put the ramp extensions in there, the precast extensions. So we're gonna have to work that, or let the public know, I guess is what.
If you can give us an idea when you know
I will.
what those closing dates are, we'll make sure we got something in the paper.
Yeah.
And they're,
Well, your phone's gonna ring, or somebody's phone's gonna ring. Yeah.
and you guys they'll barricade it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right now, I don't think there's any trailers there, it was all pickup trucks and,
Yeah,
you know,
yep. Okay. Anything else, Rob?
I can't think of anything. We have had meetings on the Route 12, you know, we've had, phone calls with Rural Development, Environmental Facilities Court, and we did send a package in, to Congresswoman Stefanik's office that was due last week, to request the additional funding, so. But we do need to keep moving forward and make a decision on where we're gonna draw these lines, so we can get your bond council on board and take care of everything, so we can get these requests
Okay.
in.
Okay.
So that's all I have. Let's do that.
Thanks, Rob. Next one, I'm gonna go down to, Sandy, tax clerk, town clerk, tax collector, Sandy?
February, I took in $599.55 and transferred it to you in the general fund. My first reconciliation with Jefferson County on property taxes is March 23rd at 10 a.m. No more full payments are being accepted. If you didn't get them in by March 10th, you're out of luck. I am still collecting second and third installments.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thank you, Sandy. Skip right on down, do we have any, I gave the youth program. Don't have any of the, other reports. After actually at the
I
last
have
meeting and the
zoning.
board talked to me, you have what?
I have zoning. They issued 5 permits in February, they granted 2 variances, they had 2 foils that they took care of, and they took in $1,410.
Okay.
And people are starting to come in a lot more. Spring is here, or coming soon.
So, okay, I'm gonna move down to old business, number 9, the Plessis Fire District Building Project, and this is just so they're building a new, what are they building over there, a garage or a department
I
building?
think it's a new department building, the old one is gonna be just.
They've
truck
been in
bay.
and they've just, showed us what they're doing. I don't know if anybody's been around over there, but I've got some pictures here that Alan Hunter dropped off. It just shows a little bit of their new building over there. They're having a building built at Bosse's. and which will come here, and I don't believe it's gonna come here till next year now, is what he told us the other day, but anybody who's interested in their process and their progress, what's going on, it's right there. They were, if everybody remembers, we gave some ARPA funding to their project over there to help them move forward.
On that note, does ARPA require any kind of paperwork to show how their money is being spent?
That was one of the notes that I put on that
Right.
bill.
I'm just asking,
If you saw, yep, 'cause that's what that's a good question.
So we just wanna make sure.
We wanna make sure we got our ducks in a row.
Exactly.
Yep.
Cause we're starting to spend that money.
Yep. Number 10, Andy.
So I have a draft of a proposed parking regulation for the Goose Bay parking area and boat dock, that is there, and the boat ramp. So it addresses the parking issue, it addresses the use of the boat dock, and it addresses, in a way, the use of the boat ramp, and that we don't want access to that ramp blocked. Now, I'm not as familiar with what goes on down there as you guys obviously are, so when I give this to Brent tomorrow, he circulates it to you, it's very much a working draft. I might be addressing some issues that aren't problems, or I may be missing some things. So I would welcome any feedback that you gentlemen can offer, including the defined structure. We can assess a range, we can assess a minimum and a maximum, or we can assess penalties for first, second, and third time offenders, for example. There is a provision in here that would give the town the ability to place an immobilization device, a boot on a car that's been there for longer than, say, 48 hours or 3 days, whatever length of time, you want to put on it. It does address certain types of vehicles would be prohibited. Commercial trailers couldn't be left down there, at all. It's really for the boating community and people that are parking their vehicles down there to gain access to the river. You should also address the issue of boat trailers down there. Since there's a launch, I just put some language in there that says your watercraft or boat trailer can't be down there any longer for than so many hours. You'll want to think about what's a reasonable amount of time. You don't want people having their trailers down there, I'm assuming, overnight, but you may want to allow the trailers to stay there for long enough so fishermen can use it, go out and fish, and then come back. So any of the details of the law like that, what it prohibits and what it allows, just take a hard look at for me. And I'll turn it right around. I've got the text of it done. I can incorporate your revisions very quickly, and we can put it on the agenda as soon as you're ready.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Moving on. With the lawn care, I think everybody's got the last one we had. This is pretty similar, we changed a couple of dates on it. Town of Alexandria Board will be accepting bids for mowing of the town-owned cemeteries. These cemeteries will include Walton Street, Plain Vivian, Church Street, Highland Park. They will be for a 2-year price bid. The contract will commence on April 17th, 2023 through October 19th, 2025. Bids will be received at the town clerk's office until Wednesday, April 19th at 4 p.m. Then will be opened at the same day at 6 p.m. at the town board meeting. Proof of insurance must accompany each bid. Anyone seeking additional information should contact the town clerk's office during regular business hours. The board has the right to reject or accept any or all bids. Specification sheet may be obtained at the town clerk's office during regular business hours. Please mark your envelope cemetery bid. Also, the specifications will be on the town website. So I need a motion to put this out for bid, according to these terms. Everybody okay with the terms here? This is a very similar contract to what we've done in the past. The only thing that I see changed are the dates.
Yep, I'll make the motion.
Those dates good?
Yeah. So I'll take a motion to put this out to bid with this.
Gene made the motion.
Oh, Gene made the motion?
Mm-hmm. I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Resolution to move dollars to New York. Okay, everybody has that in front of them. Sandy, do you know what the wording is or how this has to be done for the NYLAF? That resolution I think you were working on today.
I think it's just exactly the way, I think you just read this, explain what it is and what you're doing, and then.
I'll give a real brief deal. So we have 4 CDs right now that are getting about a 0.5 percentage point of interest. This is a New York Liquid Asset Fund, and it's created by New York State, and it's 4 municipalities, and the interest rates that it's paying right now is 4.52. So that's a lot more than we're making. We talked to our accountant from Syracuse, we talked to different people. This was created for municipalities, it's through the state. So we feel it's a very safe, place to go.
What are the terms?
There's no terms. It's like a money market account. So you put the money in,
It isn't like a 90-day or a year?
No.
Wow.
If anybody's familiar with a money market, that's how a money market works. It changes, the rate changes every day. I mean, this website that you go to, NYLAF, they put the day's rate on there, they put the week's average rate and the month's average rate, which are all very, very close.
So there's 4.
I kinda have been watching it in the last couple of days because of this bank deal that just happened. I'm wondering if that's gonna affect the rate, but it's been 4.524 for a week.
FDI insured?
Doesn't say that.
But it can, as you say, it can go up and go down. This 4.5 could be something other than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that, I guess my question, Gene, was, that's what I was curious about, is the safety, security, FDIC or not, or whatever goes on with that. And Sandy's got the paperwork right there, and there's about 5 or 6 pages. I don't think there's anything in there about insured, is there?
Money market. Like you say, you roll the dice, basically.
Yeah, that's.
Andy, do you know anything about this?
I don't.
It's awful scary to do with taxpayer dollars.
I don't, I can look at it, but I don't know.
You know, Brent, you might wanna talk to Jeff Smith about that at Municipal Solutions.
Yeah.
He has a pretty good handle on that, that fund actually, I've heard him recommend that to some other municipalities.
This fund.
I think it's
was
gotta be insured.
This fund was
Yeah.
recommended to me by 2 local banks, two big New York State banks.
So I heard Jeff talk about it, and he's got his finger on the pulse of, municipal.
Yeah, I know Jeff, I can give him a call.
Yeah. He might be able to give you some.
Okay, so we'll hold off on that till we find out a little bit more about the safety of it, and.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little scary with what's just going on recently with the banks.
So like anything new,
Yeah. Yep.
different.
I don't know how new this is, I get the impression.
Well, I'm just saying, we
don't want-
haven't done anything like
It's new
that.
to us.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, next item is Sandy, you wanna go to a conference,
Yes,
and the fee, and what are we looking at here?
it's 3 days down in Syracuse, it's a New York State, annual Clerks Association Conference. It's at the Marriott in Syracuse from April 23rd through the 26th. I get the impression these people go every year, but I think it's extremely important because there's a lot of stuff I still do not know. You go down on Sunday night for a meet and greet, Monday it starts, and they have, everything from foil, how to do proper foils, internal controls, goal settings, marriages with the new laws that are changing with, marriages and being able, effective March 28th, I believe is the date, I can start issuing, civil licenses to allow someone to marry someone else. So I'm sure they'll be talking about that. There's stuff on notaries, bonding, retirement reporting, best practices for doing clerk minutes. It's a variety of classes that are given over a 3-day period that, even if I don't learn anything from the classes, which I'm sure I will, the networking of finding people that I can call and ask things of is invaluable, so.
So do we need to do a motion to send you?
You need a motion to pay for it.
Is it in,
It is.
this is something that's not in her budget?
Well, it's a contractual expense, so there's money there for things like this.
Okay, then we,
Yeah.
So
So-
I don't know how, I mean, I don't wanna sound snooty. I don't think you guys can tell me I can't go. You know what I mean? I don't work for you. So I'm going to this, and I'm asking you guys to pay for it. You know, I paid for my notary classes, I paid for my seminar I went Wednesday. I'm paying for a lot of stuff myself, this one I'm asking you guys to pay for. So I would assume I need a motion.
I don't have a problem with it, you know, she's new, she's learning something every day, she has conversations with county people and state people, and there's a lot to learn.
well, it's to our advantage that she goes.
Yep.
Yes. I think we are a member of this, so the member price is $125 for the seminar, and then the room price is, I don't think I'm gonna stay for the last day, cause it's just a morning thing, and I think it's basically a goodbye, so I plan on coming home Tuesday night. So if I just stay 2 nights, it'd only be $543 plus the $125, is what I'm asking for.
So a motion to allow, we don't have to allow her, we just have to pay for her to go
I'll
to
make the
the,
motion to pay for the class,
to pay for the class in the
or
room.
conference,
Okay.
in the room.
Second,
I'll second that.
any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none.
Thank you.
Okay, I sent everybody electronically the audits that were done by Bill Dajno. The audits were done for the court, for the judges. There was an audit done. There was an audit done for the town supervisor's account. There was an audit done for the town tax collector, and an audit done for the town clerk. Those are all independent audits. They were done, I passed them on, and they're actually on our website now. They've been posted on our website, so anybody can review them. And, all the boxes are checked, and we've, passed all the information that we needed to be approved and be correct. That's the audits. The Fort Drum Advocate letter is just a letter that Advocate Drum congressionally direct spending requests. This is from the town of Alexandria, and is basically a letter saying, a letter of support for Fort Drum Regional Liaison Organization, DBA Advocate Drum, and its application for funding via the fiscal year 24 congressionally direct spending opportunity. So this is a letter for the town to support this move. Take a motion to let me sign this and send this as a support letter.
I'll make that motion that we support Fort Drum in any way we can.
Motion by Mike, second by Gene. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. Highway fund. I think I passed this email on to everybody that I got from Mike Lasan, and this is about this 2,300.
What is it?
Yeah, what was it originally?
It's labeled Highway Fund DA, and it's a separate bank account that's been sitting there for, as far as I can see, 8 years with the exact same amount of money in it, okay? My suggestion to Mike Lasan is, we have a reserve DA fund that has what's called a type reserve, and it's for equipment.
Correct.
Which we think this 2,300 was the same, but we can't find any documents on it that say that. He said that it wouldn't be any problem for us to take that 2,300 there and move it into the reserve.
Okay.
And all we're trying to do here is clean up those statements that got these line items that have been there for 10 years or 20 years.
This could be, because we did have a reserve fund for a truck, and then we bought a truck. This could have been whatever was left over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll take a motion that we move that, from 0089 to the other, account.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mike, second by Gene. Any discussion? So this is a motion to move the highway fund DA to the highway, to a highway fund,
The
DA reserve.
reserve and reserve fund.
Yep. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Okay, Rob, we already talked about, the next one is the bid specs, you're gonna work on that. This next one, number 18, I don't know anything about that. Sandy, do you know what we have to do there?
Is that the thing for me?
That's for you, right?
That's the resolution?
Yeah.
The way you worded it, I wasn't sure what you were talking about. So, after did you give them copies of all this? So, the first 90 days that I worked here, I had to keep track of all my hours and do a records of activity, and then Nicole, somehow it goes into the New York State retirement system, and this is actually a resolution from New York State, and you guys just have to read it, approve it, and then it'll get signed off on and notarized, and then it gets sent to New York State, and then I'll get put into the New York State retirement program.
Is this something we need to do every year, or what is,
I don't know.
you've never done anything like this?
I think the standard workday reporting is in the annual, report that you have to file with state retirement.
I don't have one here, can I read that?
Absolutely. I know we've done it, I remember doing it when I was on the board for like the judges and that stuff.
Yeah.
In the last 3 years that I've been here, I don't remember doing it annually. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't get done, and it's not something that Nicole doesn't do right away, but I don't have anything to do with.
I think what they do, I don't know if you have to do.
Standard workday and reporting resolution for elected officials. Employer code, Town of Alexandria, appointed official Sandy Caputo, town clerk. Standard workday 7, record of activities result 25.48, pay frequency bi-weekly. I'll take a motion to accept this reporting resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Gene,
I'll second that.
second by Mike, any discussion?
No.
I think that's when we talked about it, cause you're full-time, and the judges are not. So I remember it turned out we didn't need to do that because they're not full-time, it's just like we're not full, well, except for Brent. Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Declare public surplus and receive bids on April 19th. We've got an old mower up to the building that we've talked about for a couple of years about selling. I'd like to declare it surplus, and gonna put it out for bid and accept the bids on, our next board meeting at 6 o'clock.
DPW equipment, or?
That's a good question. It probably is DPW, but unless it was originally
It looks like a lawn tractor.
the highway department for any reason, but Nicole is supposed to, she has a list of assets with all the equipment in there, so that should tell whose it is. So we need to ask her.
Cause we just need to know where the money is going back to.
It's not worth much, but it is what it is.
Is that something Jamie's gonna put on that auctions international?
No, we're just gonna do it locally with a small ad and a thing.
Okay, so you're putting the ad in the paper?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's, the value of this thing is probably not more than $100. So. Declared the oldest Zamboni, so we have 2 Zambonis, we got a brand new one coming in 3 months, 4 months. And we got the old one that we bought for parts that we've scavenged.
Right, that's it. Are we just gonna continue doing that?
Well, the guys at the transfer site and the guys who work on all that stuff thinks it's taking up space.
Well, that's probably true, but I thought we got it for parts.
We did, and we've got parts off it. I guess I would've said, let's not get rid of it till we get our replacement.
Yeah.
That's kinda what I'm thinking, is we better strip every part, if it's just going for scrap, we better strip every part off of it that we could possibly ever
It would be a
need.
disaster if we got rid of it and we needed something on it.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna hold off on that. Purchase new netting for Bolton Ave, I think you all have it. the Athletica quote in front of you for $1,900. And we have 2 or 3 sections of netting at the rink that need to be replaced.
This is up above the glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This goes from the glass to the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
This is a quote for a 30 by 100, isn't it? Yeah. That we'd like to get ordered. It's 4 to 5 weeks out. We got lacrosse starting in there. We got all kinds of stuff starting in there where there's balls going up to the ceiling. So we'd like to get it ordered as soon as possible.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Gene,
I'll second that.
second by Mike.
How much is that for?
What's that?
$1,860, total quote is $1,900, $40 in miscellaneous lane charges.
Any discussion?
This is, I mean, I'm assuming they looked at, I mean, this is enough? I mean, if we didn't.
No, there's a couple other sections, well, this is the section, that's the work that needs to be replaced. There is one more section that we're thinking about replacing.
Then why don't we just do it?
Well,
Why wait?
when we started looking into this, we were only gonna do one, just do the one section that was bad.
Understand.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not like the other stuff that's bad is gonna get better.
Well, then I guess if you want to, we buy 2 sections of 30 by 100, because that was what the size of the other one would be.
It just seems to me, you know.
That's my only question is it in our budget this year to spend that much for netting?
I think it's in our budget to spend that for, it's in a contractual.
Okay,
Yeah.
what about the glass that we're lacking for cause we're gonna have to buy more glass too. And are we gonna go over what we're allowed to buy there?
Interesting scenario on the glass. I was talking with Chris Giatrakis from Davis Mechanical, and I've been trying to buy glass in a couple different places, and everybody's, it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, so on. I said, Chris, you wouldn't know where we can get any glass. He says, I got about 8 or 10 pieces down here. He had 4 pieces delivered here today.
Okay.
Nice.
And I don't believe we're paying. I said how much, he said, don't worry about it, so. So, do you wanna order one?
I'm just saying, if you're saying.
It's another 4 weeks.
There's another bad section of the same size, what's the point of waiting?
And as long as we budgeted for it, why not get it?
No, I
and get it done?
agree with that.
Okay, I'll take a motion to order 2 of those then,
Well, just make sure we got the money.
yeah,
Yep.
motion to order,
I'll make the motion to order 2 30 by 100 pieces of nylon netting, as long as it is in the budget and we have the money for it.
Yep, I'll second that.
second by Mike, any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Budget transfers, where's that list?
It's right here, isn't it? No, that's something else, totally.
Okay, General A, debit $95, publicity PS, credit $95, publicity CE, to correct an error in the budget document. Redwood sewer equipment, 2,800 debit, sewer CE, 2,800 credit. Cover increased cost of post. Route 12 sewer, Social Security, we're gonna debit $45, sewer CE, we're gonna credit $45. Cover dollars paid on wages. This is all the same, that's all it is.
Is it all within their respective funds?
All within the respective funds.
Okay,
Take a motion to approve the budget transfers,
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mike.
Transfers.
second by Gene, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed. Sign that. President, January, February operating statements, everybody, I emailed everybody the January and February operating statements, I think that was yesterday or the day before.
Balance sheet.
So everybody's got an electronic copy, anybody who wants to view those statements are all online. under our financials tab. Present P&L for the rink, the transfer site and the court, 2022 and year to date. Something that I've had on the list that I wanted to get from our bookkeeper, and I don't see it. I don't know if she wasn't able to do it or she didn't have time, but it's not here. I'll see what I can find out tomorrow. Response to letter from the taxpayer, no name, number, address. So we got a letter, wasn't signed, no address on it, no nothing, and it was complaining about some things in the town. And one of the things that they asked in the very last sentence of the letter was, would I please get back to them with what the results are. We'd like to get back to them to answer their questions. We have nobody to get back to. So I said I'd bring it up in public session, just talk about it, and hopefully somebody's listening or read it in the paper, and they can feel free to contact me or a board member or anybody to address the complaint that they have. Really all I want to say about that.
Okay.
Deposit for budgeted building at Redwood Sewer Plant. Okay, so in our budget, we have the money to build this building at Redwood Sewer Plant, to store equipment, store all kinds of valuable stuff that we own that sits outside. The deposit that's required for the building is the building and the insulation package, and it adds up to $11,382. We do have all that, we have that in our budget for that building. I'd just like a motion to go ahead and send that deposit.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Gene.
I'll second that.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Got the two lawyer legal things we have to do. Need to do that in executive session. One is, bond counsel, and the other one is litigation.
Litigation, yeah.
If you want my advice on the selection of bond counsel, that's an executive session matter. If you wanna go ahead and appoint the bond counsel that I recommended, you don't necessarily need an executive session to do that. The question is where the board is on the selection of bond counsel.
I mean, I've sent the emails to everybody. I'm pretty sure that everybody wants to move forward with the engagement letter or with this situation, so. Did you say we need to do an executive, or we?
You do not. If you know, I do recommend Mr. McGill. I've worked with him on a number of other municipal and school district projects. This is exclusively what he does. I've had nothing but a positive experience with him. The rates that were quoted in his letter of engagement are very standard. So I think he'd be a good one to go with.
Okay, so the bond counsel is Timothy McGill. This is somebody that you've done business with?
It is.
His colleague?
Yes.
It was Andy's recommendations, and I think I sent everybody some information on this. It looks like you can figure out the cost here. Base charge of $500.50 per thousand. The next one is a base charge of $2,000 per thousand. Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Could I ask?
What are we bonding for?
Yeah, that's
We're
fine.
bonding for the project that.
Route 12, sure.
Understood.
And Rob had talked to me a couple times recently in the sense of that we need to get this done, right?
Yeah, you gotta get it
It's
done.
part of the process.
You know, you're not bonding for it, you're passing a bond resolution.
Right, okay.
So you're not committing to do it.
Yep.
Just authorizing you to borrow if we can.
If we can, okay.
Maybe he can tell you all about that.
Authorizing to borrow what, Rob?
It's authorizing you to borrow up to a maximum amount that you accept, but it doesn't.
This is for him to drop all the paperwork for that, correct?
This would just be a resolution appointing Timothy McGill as bond counsel for that project.
Okay.
And you may want him to use them for other projects, so maybe you want to use this with open-ended, I don't know.
Yep.
So motion by Gene,
I'll second that.
second by Mike. Any discussion?
Just a question.
This is a different one.
This is a different one. Okay.
This is this one.
Right, no, okay, I was just wondering what this is, okay.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none.
Okay.
Are we okay?
You're good.
Getting a funny look.
So that been a roll call vote?
Yeah,
Yes, because I need to put that in a bond council, or into a formal resolution. So, roll call vote, Supervisor Sweet,
Yes.
Councilman Fayette,
yes.
Councilman Crane.
Yes.
Okay. And the next one is from Bonchanic and King. No, that's, right?
No, that's the litigation.
Oh, litigation, yep, yep.
We'll need a standard form of agreement.
So I need a motion to go into
No, I
exec.
just while we're, I need to have a question.
Further this information example, when it gets
Thank you for that, by the way.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it very much.
Rob.
I don't mean to practice law.
Rob, we need to,
I get accused of it.
Rob, we need to talk to our, health officer for a minute.
What?
Mike's
Well,
got,
no, first, no, I don't health, I need a question, for Andy.
Yeah.
Our previous board meeting, we talked about, we have some house cleaning that we need to do that involves, modifying the Redwood Water District boundary. Cause we have some users that have been the users from day one, and there's no issue there. They've been paying right along, but they're not currently in the district.
Right.
And we have another, situation where we have a potential customer that would like to hook up to the Redwood sewer that's not currently in the district. But their property is directly adjacent, and we'd like to just adjust our district boundaries to encompass their property. What do we need to do?
You're gonna amend your local law to do that. You've got local laws that established each of these districts within certain boundaries, so that local law will be amended to encompass whatever the new properties are.
Okay, so we would have to find this original local law, or we could just have a brand new local law?
No, I think I looked on the website, and you've got the original local laws that set these districts, right?
I don't know that.
Something else.
But maybe.
Yeah, I think you do, so I'll just draft an amended local law.
Okay.
And I'll need some facts about where these property
Yep.
are, and I can adjust the language in the existing local law, that's not a
Okay.
problem.
Do you need a modified map to file with the county?
You should have a modified map, absolutely. Yep.
So I can amend the district boundary map?
Yep.
Okay.
so Andy, are you okay if we have, between Sandy and Mike, who've been on this committee and know exactly what we're talking about here, let them submit the information that you're gonna need in order to.
Absolutely, get me those details and I'll get it done.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. And it was two different areas that we're gonna do, right?
Yep. Just need to clean that up. We have some other ones, but those are the two big ones.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to go into executive session for litigation.
I'll give that one.
Motion by Gene,
I'll
second
second
by
that.
Mike. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none.
Make sure you go turn everything off.
I'll leave these big maps.
You want some stereo?
I have my minutes set up so I can just.
Yeah, make sure you turn that off.
And then I go in here, it's like, I've never seen this.
I'll leave these prints for you. Okay.
Thank you, Rob. You're welcome.
I found it though.
I'd really like to get this district boundary back, though. Really like to get this district boundary back, if you're going through the ice.
I didn't hear that.
I'd like to get the district boundary back.
Yeah.
We had them.
Well, this whole Otter Street.
Hold on, okay, that's, yeah. Well, I was only, I really didn't, it's a trivia,